United!
Hello everybody and welcome back to Very Biased Opinions for another round of Premier League predictions. It wasn't quite... No, what the fuck, man?
What's your background, Ian?
My background is any random thing I found on Skype, but what are you talking about that? There's timestamps down below. You can use the chapters feature on YouTube as well. Timestamps are only there if you want to jump towards certain games, but never do that. Just watch the whole darn video. Tom, very quickly give affiliate links.
We're an Amazon affiliate. Please, if you're buying some from Amazon in the UK, have a click below. Also, there's a free Audible link. Have a click below. Also, Grandstand bettors are below. There are great tips to funding amazing website. Have a click below. They're going to win you some money. And there's also some random charity. Click below. Click on all of our links. Love us. Love us so much. There's also some links for Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Like those as well, please.
Just before we go into this round of fixtures, we're just going to have a look and give you a quick update on how we're doing on our predictions week by week. Tom is winning 4-1 overall and is looking likely he's going to take a 5-1 lead. Week 5 was brutal for me. I only got 1 point. Only Leeds versus Wolves I called correctly. Very final game. I'd already lost by then. And this week's not looking too good for me either, although we've still got 2 games to go on the Monday because we're filming this on a Monday, so we are not going to have 2 games that we're going to know about when we do predictions. That's just the way it is, I'm afraid. Without wasting any more time, let's jump into the first game. Oh my God, the Eagles are coming!
Because it's Wolverhampton Wanderers versus Crystal Palace.
Yes, Thomas, Crystal Palace, they got back to winning ways after a couple of not great performances. They put in a very typical Crystal Palace performance, really, against Fulham. They got the job done. They got a really nice goal early. Zaha turning provider for once for the guy who scored. I can't remember his name. Ridgewells or something like that. Rideveld. Something. He got his first ever goal for Palace in like his 30th game. It was a really nice goal. And then they just they got the second midway through the second half, and they just did what they do to a lot of sides. A little bit too savvy for Fulham. Fulham had their chances, just couldn't stick the ball in the back of the net till the very last seconds of the game.
Yeah, I mean, Palace played really well. Zaha had a good game. Fulham, credit to him. I don't know. Don't need to give Fulham credit. We're not even talking about Fulham right now. We're talking about Crystal Palace, and they won away from home, which is where they love to play. Wolves, on the other hand, played out one of the most boring 1-1 draws in recorded history. I'm pretty sure that if you just forgot the first half ever happened, everyone would have been happier with it. It was dull as dishwater. They eventually took a 1-0 lead and then relinquished that late in the game to a free kick from a Mr. Murphy. I believe it was his first goal for the club. Signed them in 2018.
Yeah, should have been saved, really. Patricio should have saved it. It was it's gone in the near post. So he doesn't make many mistakes. So you're not going to give him too much criticism for that. Jimenez's goal really should have been saved by Darlow as well. So there's a couple of dodgy keeper moments.
It was pretty poor as far as games.
It was boring. It was boring, but Wolves haven't been that exciting. They've been grinding out 1-0 wins, and I think that if they'd have got that 1-0 win, I think that Nuno would be like really encouraged by the fact that his side's playing pretty shitty, but picking up wins.
I mean, they're still in the top 10, which is more than we can say for Man United. They had 16 shots. The more damning feature is the fact they've had 16 shots, but only 3 have hit the target. They did outpossess Newcastle, and there's no saying they didn't hold the ball well, but they just look tired still. There's no other descriptive term I can find. They look short of any sort of real even when
they've not got any excitement. You're right, but everyone outpossesses Newcastle, so you can't look at that.
That is a good point. Everyone does outpossess Newcastle. Anyway, Ian, scores on the doors, please.
Right. So, what are we saying for this one? I think that you have to put money on a draw early doors in this one. I think. I think it will be a goal apiece, 1-1.
I'm going to go for a 2-1 Wolverhampton win. I refuse to have a week like last week where we pick the same score for 4 games. So 2-1 to the Wolves.
Sheffield United versus Manchester City.
Ian, I actually don't know what I think of this Man City side. Every week I start screaming about them, either positively or negatively, but somehow they managed to draw with a very in-form West Ham United, but a West Ham United that really shouldn't be able to draw against this City side. And I don't know what's going wrong. They've now got a striker, so they've got someone who can score goals again in the team, and he's not scoring, obviously we know, but what's gone wrong at Man City?
I talked about this a lot last year, how they they're slowly moulding into Wenger's Arsenal with this this I don't know what the word is, but they seem desperate to, rather than actually just shoot, is to walk the ball into the back of the net. Everything seems to be overplayed. The amount of times they get into good positions and they just try the extra pass, or it's a bad control where someone tries to be a bit too cute in the box. It's frustrating. They dominate games in the same way they always do, but they just look a little bit toothless. And sides know that they are going to get chances against the City side. But let's be fair, it was a wonder. We'll talk about it when we talk about West Ham, but it was a wonder strike from out.
But this is just getting painful. I mean, the City have had 70% possession, 14 shots. They've hit the target 7 times. Like, it's not like they're just not scoring goals. I don't know.
They hit the target from when they're just trying to roll it in the corner and they just pass it from the goal.
Freaking, it's terrible. It's hard to watch. But Sheffield United, Ian, lost again.
I know.
They lost again. Liverpool, really hard-fought victory for Liverpool, though, 2-1.
Well, I mean, they're equaling now, isn't it? Like they showed a stat on the BBC website about sides who've it's equaling like the worst ever start or something to not have a win after 6 games in the Premier League, and themselves and Fulham are both in that situation. They've had some tough fixtures of late, and Liverpool away is arguably the toughest fixture on the fixture list. So to lose that 2-1 is no disgrace, and they've worked hard and they played really well, and they could have got something out of it, though they did get a lucky penalty. But they're up against it at the moment, and it's difficult to see where they get their first win, because I don't think they're going to get it in this game.
Yeah, it's not looking great for them in this. I'm not going to lie to you. At the same time, this is Man City, so it's probably going to be a 1-1 draw, but I'm going to go with a 2-0 City victory in this.
Yeah, you absolutely wouldn't be shocked by a 1-1 draw, would you? And I just can't see City keeping clean sheets at the moment. And so I do think Sheffield United will get one. 2-1 as well. 2-1. Not 2-1 as well. 2-1 to Man City.
Aston Villa versus Southampton.
Well, Villa's unbeaten streak is finally ended. Comprehensively beaten by Leeds United in a game which, when you saw at half-time, you wouldn't believe any side was capable of winning it 3-0, but somehow Villa had come on the wrong end of it. Dean Smith said we were good up till half-time, and then after half-time we just got worse and worse and worse as the game went on, and in the end we were quite lucky to come out of a 3-0 loss. But you can't give them too much criticism because the start's been so good, and this was clearly, no one was expecting them to win the league. Let's be fair, this was just a blip.
This is one of those games that changed on Patrick Bamford just constantly scoring goals in this. But more than it, that was really the difference in the two sides. Grealish came close a couple times. Villa didn't look bad by any stretch of the imagination. They just, you lose games sometimes, and this was one of those games that they lost, and they didn't look bad in it. So I don't know. I don't think they got anything to worry about now.
But Southampton looked very good.
Wow.
In their stopping of the side having an unbeaten record. They beat Everton 2-0, played really well. Underrated Southampton side, really, aren't they? Every week they seem to put in good performances and don't really get much featuring in the news. And
this exact same side lost 9-0 last year. This time last year was losing 9-0.
It was almost a year to the weekend, wasn't it? They lost.
Hassan Hootel has done a fantastic job. It was a year ago that you were saying free Ralph, and no longer does Ralph need freeing. Ralph is back to being a king in Southampton. They've been really good this season. Danny Ings is aging like a fine wine. I don't even get it. He just looks better every game he plays. He laid on 2 assists for his teammates. He was unplayable in this game. You got to give Southampton full credit. And the intensity they play at, the BBC highlighted it multiple times. They just don't give an inch. And it's a very German style of play. It's very Liverpool, but it worked really well. And you can see this being a really good game if Southampton can keep their energy up against a Villa side who also work quite hard.
Every time I back Southampton, I get it wrong. Well, I've been getting everyone wrong lately, so there's no point just targeting Southampton. But let's back the Saints. I think they'll get the job done. I think it'll be a 3-1 Southampton win.
I'm going to go 2-1 to the Villains.
Burnley versus Chelsea.
Ian, after 5 weeks of incredibly exciting football, Chelsea and Man United treated us to the worst possible result. A boring-ass 0-0 draw where neither side really even came to play. It was just dire. It was dire both defensively and offensively. Neither of these sides offered anything going in either direction. Someone described it as saying it was like walking football.
and that was really, really good. It was obviously Gary Neville said it in the first half. It's like both sides have come playing not to lose.
And that was the whole game. That was the whole match. It was.
How do you? I mean, we'll get to it when we talk about Man U. We're talking about Chelsea. Yes.
Burnley, we haven't seen play yet, so there's no real point in going too further into this unless you've got anything you want to say.
No, well, just obviously they got a 0-0 draw in the last time out, wasn't it, on the Monday against West Bromwich Albion. It was probably pretty similar to Man United Chelsea, really, an absolute garbage game that no one's going to remember at the end of the season. It was their first point of the season. They're struggling. They usually do quite well against Chelsea, though. I have a feeling they're sort of side they upset regularly. Although no, I'm not. But didn't Pulisic have a screamer against Burnley last season?
Oh, quite possibly.
I think Chelsea will win. They'll be too strong. Burnley, until they get wins on the board, it's impossible to back them, isn't it? And I think it will be 2-0 Chelsea.
Now, see, if Chelsea score 2, Chelsea are scoring 4. 4-0 Chelsea. Fulham versus WBA.
Even though it's only 7th game of the season, you feel this is a huge relegation 6-pointer, don't you?
Right.
Fulham. We talked about Sheffield United. We talked about how they haven't won in their first 6 games. Neither have Fulham, and neither have West Brom at this stage either. And West Brom are currently losing. You just told me as well.
Yes, Fulham. No, West Brom are losing 1-0 to Brighton. Livermore scored an own goal. So well done, Jake.
Once again, Fulham, they're in terms of performance, they're getting better. They played all right against Palace. They had chances again. Inexplicably, Mitrovic has not had his shooting boots on this season. Scored an absolute stunner again at the end of the game from Kenny, but that's all they're doing. They're scoring worldies. They're not getting any tap-ins or scruffy goals, and so they're not getting any reward for the football they're playing.
I mean, unless Mitrovic can figure out where the goal is, because he's the only player we rated at the beginning of the year in their squad, but if he can't figure out where the goal is, this team is in serious trouble. Like, they need a goal scorer, and no one can put it in the back of the net right now.
I don't think this one will be a draw, though. I think there will be a winner in this one. I
think they're both going to be gunning for this, aren't they? Like, it looks like they're both coming in. If I'm not totally mistaken, West Brom have 2 points. Fulham will have 1 point going into this. It really is must win, because whoever does this gets out of the relegation zone, and it's a bit early to be stuck down the bottom.
I guess if you're Fulham or West Brom, you look at this game and you just think, well, if we can't beat these, where are we going to get bloody wins?
Who are we going to get points against?
So, I'm going to say my score early for you, even though that's 2 games in a row I've done that. Okay. I'm backing West Brom.
Ugh.
I think West Brom are going to win 2-1.
Ugh. Mate, this has 3-2 to Fulham written all over it. They're going to figure out where their shooting boots are. Mitrovic is going to get a hat-trick. Domination.
What do you have against West Brom? You know that Pardew's not there anymore, right?
Yeah, but I still hold it against him. Liverpool versus West Ham United.
It's champions, Liverpool, Thomas, and don't you forget it. And they put on a championship-worthy performance. Well, that didn't sound right, did it? No, they put on a performance worthy of their champions' crown against Sheffield United. They had to roll the sleeves up and battle, even though clearly that everybody was against them, even the linesmen, even the referee's assistants, what am I talking about? Even the referees, even the referee's assistant, even VAR, everything was against Liverpool in that game, and they still came through it. Fantastic victory. They're back to somewhere near their best. So are West Ham.
Yeah, so West Ham have been like magic for the last 3 or 4 matches. They've drawn 1-1 with City in the last game. So they got a fantastic 3-0 draw the week before against Spurs. They beat Leicester City 3-0 before that. I mean, they've been on absolute fire. It's hard to not just want to back them. They beat Wolves the week before they're beating all the good teams right now. We're drawing with them. And, this could be a tough game for Liverpool if David Moyes sets his boys out correctly. And if Mikel Antonio continues to hit worldies every other match.
Yeah, I do expect it to be a tough game, and mainly because, as much as I joked about it at the start, Liverpool aren't firing on all cylinders, and West Ham look like they got a bit of fight, bit of character about them. But who are you backing, Thomas? I'll let you go first.
I'd be a fool to not back Liverpool. I'm willing to take the L on this if I get it wrong, but for now I'm going Liverpool 2, West Ham 1.
Yeah, it's the first one we're going to match on. Seems to be Liverpool's favourite scoreline, isn't it? Just the edge games at the moment. Remember what Klopp says: you earn your easy victories with these.
Oh yeah.
2-1 Liverpool.
Sage, wise, old Master Klopp. Leeds United versus Leicester City.
Well, Leicester City, they did Arsenal at the Emirates, Thomas. It was a pretty much he's gone. He just can't. He can't wait to talk, can he?
No, I don't want to talk about it at all. I want you to cover it. I just how? How has this happened?
Yeah, other than the first few minutes where they really should have gone a goal down, the game was really flat. And but bring Vardy on against Arsenal, Vardy will score. That seems to be the message. It seems like Arsenal just cannot seem to mark this guy or get anywhere near him. They left him completely open when Leicester broke for a tap-in header goal, and Leicester end up winning 1-0, which gets them out of a bit of a slump that they've been in for a couple of games. And I would expect this game to be a cracker.
I'm hoping all we get in this is goals. Leeds, yet again, were majestic against Aston Villa. We've already talked about it. 3-0. Patrick Bamford with a hat-trick. I think he needed that. But he's had, not that he hasn't had a good season, but just to solidify himself as a Premier League striker. I mean, he's been around the league and the championship for 3 or 4 years now, I feel like, and never quite made it. But he's really doing it on the stage right now. Leeds are fantastic. Bielsa did some pretty good management in that game. He took his defensive center mid out after about 21 minutes when he picked up a yellow card, which earned him a ton of flack from a lot of fans, especially Villa fans, talking about how Dean Smith would find him out. Well, Dean Smith didn't find him out, boys. He actually got dominated on. Anyway, enough of this. It makes me really happy when fans go nuts and this guy doesn't know what he's doing. Everyone knows Marcelo Bielsa knows what the guy's freaking awesome. He's going to mastermind a victory over Brendan Rodgers and his team of pretenders. It's going to be 3-2 to Leeds United.
You can't help but feel Leeds will score goals in this game, can't you? They were really unlucky in the game against Wolves as well. They dominated that game and ended up losing it 1-0, and they really played well. So there's a couple. I mean, the games they've lost. They lost to Liverpool, lost to Wolves. They could have easily got something out of that one and been unbeaten so far this season. They've been so excellent. And I agree with you with what you said about Bamford, and I think Bielsa deserves credit for that as well, because there's a lot of even Leeds fans that didn't think he was able to cut it in the Premier League, and he's stuck by him and he's been rewarded. Oh God, you've gone taken 3-2.
4-3, 5-4, 6-7.
2-2.
2-2. Yeah, to be fair, I actually feel a draw, but I want Leeds to win right now. Their style of play just makes me happy. They're a bit like Chelsea last year, where I just end up being really, they just flow forward with such reckless abandon, you can't help but be like, I want these guys to do well. Yeah, I know, Man United fans. Slaughter me in the comments, feel free.
Newcastle United versus Everton.
Two teams on a real low right now, Ian. Newcastle got their draw, but they have been turgid this year. I mean, is there anything positive? They have all this, hard-working talent like St. Maximin and Almiron and that striker who refuses to score goals but runs around really well. But they don't even seem to get that out of them anymore. This Newcastle, they just, it's like their feet are stuck in clay or something. They cannot be bothered. They sit behind the ball and do nothing. I feel like Everton, this is the perfect game for them to have following their loss against Southampton.
You feel like it's a game they're just going to dominate. They're going to dominate possession. They're not too far removed, Newcastle, from a good performance. They were only a couple of games ago. I think they won by 3-0. But you're absolutely right. I mean, they just sit back and allow themselves to just play in this very, very boring and negative way. But they've managed to pull out a couple of draws from nowhere. They did it against Spurs. They did it against this Wolves side where it didn't look likely, and they ended up getting some points on the board. I think you have to back Everton as well, don't you? Yeah. You'd like to see there be a response. What did you think of Luca Dean's red card, Tom?
I hate to say it. I think I probably agree with Ancelotti.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's really tough, right? When someone doesn't do something on purpose, a red card always feels harsh. But at the same time, in the situation, I suppose that's what they had to give. I
feel that he's not quite as innocent as they say. I think that he's been annoyed and he's ran directly behind him, not really making much of an attempt to get the ball. If you're chasing someone, you're generally at the side of him.
It's a red card. It's just an annoying red card. I think he hasn't meant
to tread on his ankle, but as he has done,
he's off. Yeah, I suppose that's it. Yeah.
But obviously that's a conspiracy because of Jordan Pickford. I
like that Ancelotti had a chance to not bring up Jordan Pickford in this game and chose to bring him up. Even Ancelotti seems to be on the bandwagon of just beat this guy to death. He's going to have a mental breakdown soon, and then we won't have to play him anyway, because he'll be off on medical leave.
Luca Dean gets sent off, and it's Jordan Pickford's fault. Yeah, let's go Everton for 3-1 win.
I'm going to go 2-0 to the Evertonians. And let me really quickly just say, I don't think Newcastle are going to get relegated. I'm just saying, their style of play is so frustrating to watch, and they're so boring.
I've said it before. I've said it like they're just head scratching of like Bruce just doesn't know when those games are going to be where they all of a sudden turn up and play.
Yeah.
At the moment, they're just limited to like 10, 15 minutes in a game, and thank God they've got Cal Darlow, who's like kept him in most matches. And like he had a bad mistake in that game and let a goal in, but he's not, that's a rare mistake. It's not like Man United one who's like error.
You need to shut up. But genuinely, people need to stop getting so mad when a goalkeeper makes one mistake, because that goalkeeper making that one mistake, it seems like your goalkeepers start at the number like 1 and they can only go down. So like they start at 1, you're like, oh, you're a good goal. And the minute they make a mistake, they're 0. And they make another mistake and they're -1. But those 2 mistakes have come over a whole season. But now they're at -1.
Does that mean you're ready to forgive Kepa?
Absolutely not.
Tottenham Hotspur versus Brighton, Hove and Albion.
So the 3 men from Brighton at halftime are currently leading the West Bromwich Albion 1-0. It's a Livermore own goal.
I need this. I need it.
What do you need?
I need Brighton to win.
Well, I mean, you need Brighton to win, but we have the same score, so you're not going to catch me up. And yeah, tell me about the Tottenham Hotspurs.
There's not much to say, really, is it? Because we haven't seen them play. They're playing late on Monday. Obviously, they've just been really good. They'll be looking to get back to winning ways. They had an easy win in Europa League, and they'll be hoping that they can get a nice, easy win over the side everybody's beaten in Burnley, and you would expect them to do that. And I'm interested to see, because I think Brighton it should be a good game as well. I'm not expecting it to be a ton of goals, but hand down. You can talk in a second. Tottenham to win. I think Tottenham will win 3-1.
Not a fucking chance. There's absolutely no way in hell this Brighton side concede 3 goals. Remember, Danny Welbeck doesn't play centre back. He plays striker. He's going to stop them from scoring. He's not going to start them conceding. This has 1-1 draw written all over it. This Brighton side know how to play the big teams. They're going to set up shop, sit there, and allow Matt Ryan to do what he does best, which is be a cat and goal. It's 1-1.
Memories of Premier years gone by. It's time to roll back the clock to a time when Mark Overmars was strolling round the field, putting the ball past the young Les Seeley. It's time for the main event.
United versus the Gunners.
Right, Manchester United versus Arsenal, a cracker of a game in any Premier League season, despite where they sit in the league and despite their form. It's always a big match. Man United had a lackluster 0-0 draw, Arsenal coming off a defeat. But to tell us more about Man United is our resident expert and Manchester United fan, Thomas.
Firstly, this is a public service announcement, but it's mainly going out to Harry Maguire. Stop putting players in headlocks, throwing them on the ground and jumping on top of them. Eventually, VAR is going to look at a Man United defensive move and go, that's a penalty against you. So please, just stop while you're at it.
That was a penalty, though, wasn't it?
Oh my god! It's awful. He's got one arm around his belly, one arm around his neck, and then jumps on top of him while he's doing it. You're like, how? How is VAR not calling that up? I mean, what's the Frank Lampard quote? Holding isn't a foul, but a headlock is.
It's baffling how they don't call it. And I mean, that's weird. We're going to talk about that because that's like one of the only things to talk about in this game, which is baffling.
I mean, the worst thing as a United fan is that they put in such a fantastic performance against PSG, and you were just like, if they can bring half the swagger that they had in that game against Chelsea, it's going to be fantastic. Like, you know, I had 7 goals as a prediction. You had 6 goals. We really expected a lot. Do
you think he got surprised with Chelsea being so negative?
No, not at all. He literally came out and said this is a better result than we had last time we beat PSG. It's like he was literally trying to exercise past demons instead of manage a football game in a football club. Like, he doesn't want to lose 12 straight games, which is whatever they did last time they played PSG. And this is, as a United fan, what is worrying. It's a 0-0 draw against Chelsea is fine at the end of the day, right? Like, as long as we don't lose to the big teams and we beat the smaller ones, we're going to have a good season. But to come out and be like, this is positive because last time we beat Like, that's insane. There's no
what does
connection.
I don't understand what you mean here. What does he say? Because they beat PSG?
So when they beat PSG 2 years ago when he got the job, full time, they went on like a 12-game losing run, and he's blaming beating PSG for that, essentially. And he's drawing these weird connections that only a human brain would draw, but are just not based in any form of fact. And when the Man United manager starts saying a 0-0 draw with Chelsea is good, and this negative, ugly style of football is good, which, by the way, did you know what the combined cost of both their teams was in this game? It was £1.04 billion. There was £1 billion worth of players, and both sides set out to draw. So I was not especially happy with the result. I'm not especially happy ever seeing Man United play 4 at the back. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer seems really sold on Luke Shaw as a left back, which I find worrying.
It's so weird. I mean, and again, you could take the result of 0-0 if it's genuinely end-to-end, and their keeper's made a couple of good saves, hasn't he, from Rashford? Yeah,
Mendy had a good game. So did De Gea. Like, both the goalies are good games, but it's signing Van de Beek, signing Tellers, signing Igalo last season. Like, as a United fan, again, it's no one seems to know what's going on. Like, what am I watching?
I mean, and like it's just so many strange things. It's like you almost feel like Cavani's almost still like an afterthought, and he's only just come into the side. Donny van der Beek must have thought Ajax won 13-0 at the weekend. I bet he's.
I could have been there. I could have been there.
Yeah, why did I come? Why did I come at the moment?
He doesn't come on as a sub. Paul Pogba is now a sub. Well, Tellez isn't played. Sorry?
When he has come on, he's looked good.
Pogba?
No, Van der Beek.
Van der Beek's looked great. Van der Beek's why Fred is still in the team is like beyond me. McTominay looks good when he's playing. Pair Van der Beek and McTominay. Or let Paul Pogba play and just play 2 cams.
But anyway, Thomas, the dream of an unbeaten season finally came to an end for Arsenal. Leicester did them by a 0-0. You can talk.
Ian, they've lost 3 games in the league this season.
No. The Liverpool Man City games don't count. They were clearly the referees and all that were against them. Liverpool should have had a red card, and Man City should have had a penalty against Man City. Right. Although they should have had a goal in this one. I don't know if you've seen it, but that should have been a goal. I don't know why.
Why was it? What is VAR doing? I don't. It's like that.
The linesman flagged it though. I don't understand. I know, but maybe the linesman thought he got a touch. I don't know. Maybe.
But wasn't the ball in the back of the net when he puts his flag up? Surely at that point VAR can be like, you've made a mistake.
It's baffling. Arsenal, obviously, their fans don't need much to, start complaining, and that is certainly one they complain about. But they did get worse as the game went on, and they were really poor by the end of it. Twitter is an absolute, it's a cesspool, isn't it, of comments. Literally, the whole second half, all I saw was people saying, Arteta needs to go. Arteta's terrible. He needs to be out. Lacazette's the worst striker we've ever had. Lacazette's terrible. Literally, Lacazette does nothing. I could name 5 worse strikers than Lacazette. And I'm going to actually, that Arsenal have had. 5 worse strikers than Lacazette.
Oh, can I start? Danny Welbeck.
He doesn't make the list. He's 6th. Ian Wright, Dennis Bergkamp, Kanu, Henry, Wiltord.
I miss Wiltord. He was a weird sort of left-winger striker.
Obviously, we know Arteta is only going to play one way in this one. He's going to be very defensive and try and hit Man United on the break because that's the only way he ever seems to want to play. I have no idea what Solskjaer's going to do. It could be any gambit of things from... I think it just literally just... Does he just literally just throw the names in the end?
Yeah. And not only that, Van der Beek's name and Tellers' name, they're already on the bench. Everyone else gets their name thrown into a hat. That's why Tuanzebe got in 2 games ago. Also, just really quickly, Tuanzebe had one of the best games of his career. Helps hold Neymar and Mbappe in check. And where does he end up? Not in the starting lineup against Chelsea.
I'm on an Arsenal kick this year, in very biased opinion, so I have to back them, don't I?
Fool!
The only thing I say is, Man U got De Gea in goal. When you got De Gea, you've always got a chance. 2-1 Arsenal.
De Gea has been brilliant all season. It's 3-0 to United.
It's 2015.
United. Up we go, lads.
Round us out then, cowboy.
Really quickly, thank you to all of you who've liked, subscribed, who watched this video, who keep following us. Thank you for all the support you guys show. Thank you to any of you that have clicked on our Amazon links. A couple of you have, and we really appreciate that. Please have a look in the top corner. We have cards, lots of videos we publish, and please check the end screen cards. They have our preseason predictions and everything. Go on there, look at the table now after 6 weeks, and point out why we have no idea what we're doing. In the meanwhile, Ian is going to do some interpretive dance as I tell you that I love you all, and we hope you have a nice week.